1962. 10 programmes a year were made, consisting of a number of short features linked by professional BBC frontmen, the actual commentary on the film being provided by Pat and John live in the studio. The production of sufficient material for a 25-minute programme every 4 weeks meant that whenever possible, 2 or more features were filmed on one visit. This occurred in 1962, when the cameras were taken to the Isle of Wight to film the Adams Class O2 tanks, which were the mainstay of the island's services from the 1920s to the end of steam in 1966. The first film was to introduce the locomotives and was an example of the team's shed visit films, which enabled a considerable number of locomotives to be seen in a short time, giving the opportunity to examine various features of the engines themselves, which accorded well with the principal interest of the show's young audience, the collection of locomotive numbers, the much maligned hobby of loco spotting. The main locomotive shed on the Isle of Wight was at Ryde St John's Road, where locomotive number W32 is seen being serviced. These engines were numbered in a separate series, with the prefix W, which had not changed since the early days of the Southern Railway. It was a throwback to the system used to distinguish the locomotives of the various constituent parts of the Southern, when the original numbers were retained, with the addition of a letter, A for Southeastern, B for Brighton, E for Southwestern, and W for Isle of Wight. When the mainland lists were consolidated in the early 1930s, the Isle of Wight remained as it was, and the same happened in 1948 when the railways were nationalised and all mainland engines were again renumbered. This separate number series served to highlight the special nature of the island railway system, whose atmosphere was gradually becoming more appreciated by railway enthusiasts in the early 1960s. As Victorian tank engines disappeared from British railways, their exclusive use on the island became the focus of much attention. They were kept in immaculate condition, and the pride of the local railwaymen was obvious. All engines were named after local towns and villages, which further heightened their interest factor. Other features distinguished the engines. All were fitted with Westinghouse air brakes, which necessitated air pumps attached to the smoke box, and large air reservoirs on the tops of the side tanks. All were of Class O2 and had started life on the London and South Western Railway as light 044 tanks for lighter suburban duties and country branch lines. They were transferred to the Isle of Wight between 1923 and 1949, a total of 23 working on the system. This engine, number W28 Ashley, had been one of the 1926 transfers and worked to the end of steam on the island in 1966.